Hello, in this session we're going to look at some general tips and tricks for getting started within Subassembly Composer. Just some quick helpful hints that will make life a little bit easier. First thing we want to look at and talk about is the help file. I typically start with sketching this out, whether it's a hand-drawn sketch such as these two examples here, that just helps you fully understand and maybe map out a little bit about what you're doing. Maybe you have a standard detail that you have already created in CAD, or a municipal or government agency has a standard detail. It's always good to start out with something like that. And then it's always good to begin the help file prior to doing your PKT or your subassembly creation. That'll help you as you author it, as you build it. It's going to help you further understand what you're building, and you're always may skip over something, but if you have that help document, you can kind of see what the needs and things are of your subassembly. More importantly, though, it helps the end users. So people who didn't create that subassembly can then understand how it was created, why it was created, and some of the intentions behind that. So it's a very helpful document. Again, I would author that as you go and start out with that. So let's take a quick look at the help file. It's just a Word document, a very simple Word document. You can have this and kind of fill in the blanks as you go, but it has a basic description. It has an exhibit that's easily created in AutoCAD. And then it has all your input parameters that you need and your target parameters for your subassembly. So this is an extremely complex subassembly, and the help file really isn't that bad. It's just a bunch of fill in the blanks for your input and target parameters. Then a little bit more about the behavior of it, maybe some blow-ups or something that are helpful, but anything you want to put in the help document that you find helpful can have a place here. Points, codes, links, and so forth. Some other general comments. The name of the subassemblies themselves should be one word. So you can't have spaces between the words or anything. For example, the shoulder rounded target should be just as it shows here, shoulder rounded target, one word. The PKT file itself can be multiple. And the subassembly name is found within the subassembly packet settings. So that can differ from the PKT file. However, the subassembly name itself needs to be one word. All the input and output parameters, as well as the target parameters, should also be one word. So planter width, no space between it. Sidewalk slope, no space between it. Good examples of using one word throughout those parameters. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. No spaces, any of that stuff throughout your parameters. Sample files. So it's always good to review some of those and deconstruct some previously completed files. We'll leave you with a whole bunch of files to look at, but I always find myself going back to see how somebody else did it, and especially in more advanced cases, looking at their methods, and that really helps you in learning Subassembly Composer, just to kind of see what others have done. Okay. And some of those sample files that we'll leave behind, you can see here, quite a few of them. So just about anything that you could think of, different methods, different uses, we're going to have a sample file for you to kind of deconstruct and or just edit and go with that. But it's very helpful to look at sample files and look at how it was done. Probably one of the most important things, the point, link, and shape standards. Naming convention is huge, just like in Civil 3D with your template. You have styles naming convention, you have layer naming convention. Throughout all of AutoCAD and CAD standards, you have naming conventions. That doesn't differ here. You want to have a good naming convention throughout. It's good if you could match up to the Civil 3D standard naming convention. You don't necessarily have to. And then you can use single word or in double quotes or parentheses for some of these. So the example I'm showing here is right out of Civil 3D. So you can see that they have the point, the code for those points, ETW for example, edge of travel way, is a pretty standard naming convention. If you create that in Subassembly Composer, ETW, creating your surface, creating your quantities and so forth, will just be a lot easier to follow that out of the box, kind of the Civil 3D standard naming. Same with your links. You're all used to creating surfaces using links and adding links into the surface. Might as well just use the same naming there. And same with shape. Quantity takeoff reads the shape. So if you want to quantify a volume of concrete, for example, and you name it something not concrete, it's not going to quantify that the way you expect it to. So understanding why the shapes, links, and points have the naming convention in Civil 3D is key, and to follow those in Subassembly Composer is even more important. And then you can see here where it says point codes, ETW. You can double code it if you like, but again, naming convention would be key here.